Hello, everyone, and welcome to Osquery Office Hours. It is the end of the year. I think this is our last office hours for the year, so I hope everyone's having a good winter, and we will soon be into a new year. On that note, office hours. Announcements, highlights, anything since the last meeting? I don't think I've got anything. Other folks? Okay. Next section is sort of an open section for questions, issues, PRs, anything people want to bring up that they weren't comfortable promoting into a full agenda item. I will pause a moment, though y'all look pretty regular.
It's the fiber internet, maybe.
Keeping us regular.
Okay, moving on to agenda items. The one I wrote down is that we wanted to do a release by year end. So we want to try and get 5/11 out. And I don't know, do we want to cut that today? Are there any PRs people want to get in? Just talk about PRs in that context.
I'd like to get the VS Code extensions PR in, and I've just been working on it this morning to address some of the last review comments.
The other thing I was working on was the libxml2 library update. It has a CV on it. It is actually contested by upstream, but yeah, basically, if you're able to make cause memory exhaustion, then it is possible in some complicated way to access to cause a use of the free, basically, because the allocation failed, etc. It seems really difficult to exploit, especially in the case maybe of Osquery, but yeah, I'm updating the library. I only have to do the Windows part, so it should land today.
Okay. I'll thumb it when you update it, or at least I'll read it first.
Yeah.
Zach, is the VS Code extension, is that the PR from Kaviti?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that person has that person's been unresponsive for a while, so I'm just trying to get the changes done myself.
Okay. Cool. Other PRs. I merged the ones from Micah about vision collation stuff. Didn't seem like anyone else had comments on that, so I merged them. Hopefully they work. One of the things I think he's going to push up is something that updates a bunch of default collations for various table columns. So we can now do things like set the RPM version to default to an appropriate collation for that column type. So if he gets that PR up this week, I'll merge it. We've got another one up that probably needs like a Linuxy person to review, which is about updating the block device and disk encryption to use sysfs instead of udev. But I'm not sure if Stefano or Alessandro has time for reviewing that one. If we push that, it's not the end of the world, but it finally fixes some of the performance issues we have there.
To be fair, not really. Let's see. I have to see. I'm not sure. I start having some time by the end of this week, basically.
If we get it into the next release, it's good too.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds like we should probably plan for that. I mean, I could review in terms of like C++ code, but I'm not super familiar with those concepts.
Yeah, I'm nor me. down at the OS level, so I feel like it kind of wants some OS oversight on it. Other PRs people want? I know we've got some more in the milestone here, but I'm not sure any of them are quite ready to go. Okay, so no one is saying anything, so I think what we've got here is VS Code extensions and libxml2 as things we actually want to get in the release. And then if Micah gets a PR up for more default collations, that'll sneak in. And if anyone can review 8150, that'll sneak in. Otherwise, those will land in 512.
Yeah, and I'll be putting up a PR shortly for fixing the battery status detection on Apple Silicon, where the API reports check battery like half the time. If I get that up in time, would love to see it go into release. If not, we'll go into next release.
Okay, if it looks easy, we'll merge it. I think I remember we saw weirdness there, but could never.
The
Fine.
API that used to work still returns data on Apple Silicon, but it's just wrong. I found another API, same one that's used by like the system profiler tool, that seems to return the correct data. So
that sounds nicer than I suspect we're pulling it out of system profiler right now, which isn't a great approach. But
no, we're not right now.
No. We collide.
Oh, through like shelling out to it or something.
Yeah.
That would make sense. It does seem to be correct in System Profiler. And the recent PR that I merged about whatever it was, Secure Boot pulls information from System Profiler using the API that System Profiler uses. And so now I'm a bit familiar with the pattern. So by the way, if anyone wants anything table-wise where the data is available in System Profiler, I'm about to write a helper function for that as well that will make it really easy to get any of that stuff into tables.
So if I remember, the last time I tried to disassemble System Profiler, it looks like System Profiler is talking over some internal socket to some underlying libraries, which it uses to like escalate permissions. Do you know if the library you're using, like which layer it's at?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean by layer, but I can point you to the code and show you.
I'm trying to remember Apple's acronym for this. If I remember right, System Profiler is basically a very thin RPC client talking over a socket to some daemons. And the underlying daemons are running with escalated permissions because System Profiler doesn't have like read permissions to all of the data that's there. So like it talks over some RPC protocol to some internal other thing. And I'm curious if the library you're using is like, if it's on which side of that RPC protocol it is. Doesn't really matter. I'm sort of just idly curious about it.
Here's the link to like that recent PR, which this is basically just copied from the connected displays table.
Yeah.
Someone figured out how to use this, but it like loads a the SP support private framework and then there's a report for data type function, and you give it a data type that seems to correspond with the same data types that System Profiler uses.
Cool.
So I'm guessing that if there is like another daemon, then that's happening underneath this. That's happening inside this private framework, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I noticed the other day that our Wi-Fi status table is more broken than I thought.
Oh, interesting. That might be fixable via the same mechanism.
Yeah, I think the data is probably in System Profiler somewhere, but I don't even know what we want here. Like the Wi-Fi status table is using one of the Wi-Fi foundations, but like it no longer displays the network name or the SSID. And I know Apple's been cutting out on the exposed information, but I didn't think they took those out. So I don't know. I filed a bug because I don't know what's going on. But
Well,
if
I
you're
don't
there,
get the network. I don't get the network name. I don't think in System Profiler.
I think you can. I think it lurks in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I don't see it, but if it's there, then we should be able to get it with this mechanism.
Yeah, hold on. Let me find it. I was recently digging around in this one, but I hadn't quite connected all the dots yet. But I also don't know if feels kind of like there should be a cleaner way to get at this, right? Like there's a Wi-Fi API there.
Yes, you would think so.
I would. I
would think so too.
Yeah. Okay. So we can get it. It's in that data, but that's slow. It looks like that's triggering a Wi-Fi scan. And I don't know if I don't know if like there's a way to get that data without triggering the Wi-Fi scan through System Profiler. I don't know what those APIs are.
There's also the network setup tool that will list SSIDs and a whole bunch of anything that's in the known networks list, and there's a ton of tooling in there.
Yeah, but none of those are APIs that we have.
Sure, it's got to be calling something though.
Yeah. Anyhow, I don't know that we have to fix that one for today.
Yeah.
Anyone
Nerd sniped.
Anyone want to advocate for anything else in particular around the 5.11 release? Okay. Anyone want to talk about anything else?
I mean, this does not come from me, and I know Victor is not here, but I don't know if you have seen. He wanted to add an option to have a back off for the TLS logger, because when the service, the backend goes down, Osquery keeps retrying with the same period, sending the logs. And in fact, in some cases, if it's not a connection issue, the logs are like shipped via network, and then only after the maybe the server gives an error or load balancer, whatever. So yeah, the idea is to have this flag to enable backoff and have exponential backoff starting from the period that is being configured, and then having a maximum, some configured maximum. It seemed interesting to me. I think it partially ties with the discussion, with the issue I brought up last time of the limiting, or having a way to precisely limiting the amount of logs that are being sent at every period. This somewhat ties into it, because it's like the issue is already present, but in fact, when the server goes down, Osquery will accumulate logs, and then when it goes back up, the service will get much more logs, potentially much more logs than what it is normally used, and maybe it will cause it to go down again. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely endorse the idea. Does anyone have concerns with it? Like, should we let him know that it seems reasonable?
The only thing I thought about, and I wasn't sure, and it's again partially connected with the other thing, is that he was proposing that the maximum backoff would be like maybe around 3 hours, or a number of hours. And I was wondering if a user, like I can see users that do want to let their service have time to recover, even if they are online. But at the same time, I can see maybe users that want to have logs come back in almost immediately when the service is online, back online. And again, I was wondering what was again the issue with logs, much more logs coming in immediately. If this option for the user was a foot gun, possible foot gun, or not, things like this.
I mean, I think there's a risk of dogpiling anytime you're dealing with buffering, but we talked about this a bunch last time, and I don't know if this doesn't. Whatever seems fine to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Stefano, maybe you want to add that, like add your concern there onto the issue, and we can think about configuring it in a way that's likely to minimize that. Like perhaps instead of having a Boolean on-off flag, like I think I saw was the proposal, we could have like a max backoff flag or something like that. And if that's unset, then the backoff is turned off. And if it's set, then it allows you to configure it that way. We don't have to have multiple flags, and we can have like a sort of default unchanged option.
Wait, I think I lost it because so the original proposal was already containing the proposal for a maximum backoff. So when I mentioned that, I was already keeping into account that there was a maximum backoff. So how's what you were proposing? How's different?
It is so okay. So just to make sure that everyone's clear, it's 8219 is the issue number that we're talking about. And I see that in the proposal here, there's a proposal for a logger TLS back off equals true flag, basically.
Yeah.
And it sounds like so, and right now this has a fixed maximum. Maybe instead of having the flag be logger TLS back off, it could be like logger TLS back off underscore maximum. And if that's unset, then that's equivalent to it being off. If it's set, it allows you to actually set the maximum back off.
Yeah, I see. So basically, yeah, you were proposing to just merge the two flags and the two logic together. And okay, I see.
Yeah, and then maybe that provides, without like increasing the configuration surface, maybe that provides some more options to meet everyone's needs as best as possible.
Sorry. Yeah, makes sense. Again, I don't have any like personal sticks here. Just some things I was curious about since last discussion, and that user that presented those issues. So that's all from me.
I think the only concern I ever have about back off things is that they don't work if the rate of inbound of sort of data generation exceeds what the back off is set to. Right, like if you had an Osquery client that was producing data more rapidly than it was configured to send it, then you kind of end up snowballing.
But the backoff. So the backoff.
The backoff is presumably just for like the first write.
Oh, I guess that's true. Maybe it's just to keep sort of everything from hammering on that connection.
Like immediately when the service comes back up.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Even when it's down, I would say, because
yeah,
and while it's down, yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, there's still other TLS endpoints that might hammer, like config, distributed query.
Yeah, but that's just like a small request, while the logs are. I mean, I can see again that the server, you would expect the server to know its own health and decide to process the data faster or slower depending on what's the health, maybe. But again, the difference is that here Osquery is sending a lot of data logs, while in the config case, it's just pinging, just a small request. So
I mean, if you wanted to get fancy, we could talk about how TLS servers could support like HTTP backoff signaling, but I don't think we're that fancy.
Is someone already noting this discussion issue? Should I do that?
You should go ahead and do it. Yeah. Are there other things folks want to talk about, or should we call it? Okay, not hearing much. So I would say we should end this early. I hope folks have an excellent end of year holiday. Thank you all for work contributions, a year of progress. I don't know how many releases we had, but I'm sure lots of cool things happened. And I will see you all next year.
Happy year, folks.
Holidays. Happy year. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.